Hi, everyone, and welcome to Café IBTTA. I'm Pat Jones. My guest today is Laura Kelley, Executive Director of the Central Florida Expressway Authority. CFX is a regional agency created by the Florida legislature to provide transportation solutions to Brevard, Lake, Orange, Osceola, and Seminole counties. CFX uses local toll revenues to build, operate, and maintain a 125-mile expressway system. Laura has held management positions in the transportation industry for over 30 years. She served as the executive director of the Florida Transportation Commission, held multiple financial management positions with the Florida Department of Transportation, and has worked as the chief financial officer for a professional engineering firm headquartered in Tallahassee. She is also serving in her second year on the IBTTA board of directors. Laura, welcome to Café IBTTA. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, this is Café IBTTA, where we drink coffee and talk about things that are interesting, relevant, uplifting, and fun. And I have my beautiful CFX mug. Thank you, Laura, to you and your colleagues for sending this to me. And this is awards season at IBTTA. I want to promote two awards programs. The new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award was established by the Task Force on Diversity, Social, and Racial Inclusion, and it recognizes IBTTA member organizations that make a significant contribution to advance racial justice, equity, inclusion, and meaningful opportunities in society. The submission deadline is next Monday, June 14th. We only have a handful of applications so far, but we want to fill the mailbox with applications so that you have a chance to win. So please respond by June 14th. Also, the Leadership Academy Alumni Association has an Alum of the Year award. This is also new this year. This award recognizes a leader who has demonstrated and made significant commitments to tolling and the transportation industry after graduating from the IBTTA Leadership Academy. And the submission deadline for this award is June 18th. So please get those submissions in. Well, we have a good crowd today, and we are taking your questions and comments, and we want to get started right away. So using the chat function and selecting the option for all panelists and attendees, since Laura is here from Orlando, we want you to type a word or phrase that describes your thoughts or feelings about Orlando, Florida. Give us a word or phrase that describes your feelings about Orlando. Okay, sunny, Disney, of course. There's another Disney, lots of Disneys. Sunshine and fun. Fun place. Man, this is the place to have fun, huh? Free. I don't know what that means. We'll have to come back to that. Lots of fun and sun. Art. Great people. Yep, Laura, I think you're great people. Mickey, all right. Lots of good feelings about Orlando. Laura, this is a good precursor for our chat today. People love Orlando. Well, Laura, you've been involved in transportation for over 30 years. Would you tell us a little bit about your transportation background and how you came to be in the top position at CFX?
Well, it's interesting, the path that I took. My background's in finance, and I started at an engineering firm where I lived in Tallahassee, Florida, and have held various roles in the financial side of the transportation industry. And it's something that inspires me. And I mean, even early on, it was fun to watch, be on job sites and understand that even though I was a finance person, I was really contributing to something very tangible that serves our community.
That's great. Now, there may be some people who are not that familiar with CFX. Give us a sense of the size and scope and geographical coverage of your agency.
Sure. We are now looking at a $3.2 billion work plan over the next 5 years that is investing in about 64 miles of widenings across the region to serve our community. I mean, we saw in the chat area all the reasons why people are moving to Central Florida. And I think COVID has somewhat accelerated that movement to Florida. For all those reasons, people really want to live here, and the work from home opportunities that we have all learned from has brought people here quicker. So we have some challenges here in Central Florida to deliver the transportation that's needed to support that growing community. We are in the middle of a construction project that is totally rebuilding the interchange at the north of the Orlando International Airport. This is a very important signature project that, when completed, will be a welcome mat to people from all over the world coming here for fun and vacation. So we're looking forward to delivering that to our community, as well as new arteries throughout the Central Florida region where growth is occurring.
And it sounds like people are really flocking to Orlando right now. As I understand it, your traffic has returned to pre-COVID levels. Is that right?
That is correct. Right now, our revenue is trending about 13% above pre-COVID. It is evident that people are not only moving here, but people are ready to get out and travel. What I find interesting is that peak hours back. The congestion and traffic is back. What's more interesting is that our weekends are higher than they've ever been. So people are getting out in their cars and driving more than they did before. So that's contributing to our numbers as well.
That's great news. Now, during the pandemic, you developed something called the home agent model that gave you flexibility with your customer call centers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, home agent was important because during COVID, we had to do the social distancing. And so we didn't have the space to handle all the calls that were coming in. So it was really important to ramp up a system by which people could be managed through a home office environment and have people work from home. When we went out for our call center contract, we actually invested in a company that had never been in the toll industry before. They were a huge leader in the call center industry, but had never worked in tolling. And so they seized the opportunity to learn about us, right? And so they are the firm, Alliance One, that brought us home agents. So we were able to quickly transition to a home agent environment so that during peak periods of calls, we can keep up with our call volume. Our goal is to answer our phone calls on average in under a minute.
I know we're going to see a lot more of that. You talk about bringing a firm that traditionally had not worked in the tolling industry in, and I think we're seeing that all over the place with big tech firms and firms that specialize in customer service. So well done. Well, you're pretty innovative there at CFX. I understand you have a number of research projects going on related to testing solar applications and wireless electric charging. Tell us about some of those research projects you're involved in.
Well, it's very important as we continue to work in our community to also look toward the future. You have to be very flexible in this industry because it's moving and changing so rapidly, right, Pat? I mean, it's just
absolutely
crazy the amount of change that's going on in our industry, and that's what makes our jobs exciting. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So we are actually have a sustainability plan that we're investing over $9 million in over the next 5 years, applying solar throughout our system. We are also looking to pilot with Aspire for a wireless charging system that charges electric vehicles while they're moving along the highway. This is very important as the electric vehicle becomes more of the norm around the world, because I don't think any of us can imagine a day where you have to plug in every few hundred miles. And if everybody had an electric car, where would they put all these charging stations, right? It would have to go into restaurants. Everywhere a person would stop, you'd have to charge. I think this wireless technology that can run alongside highways is something that has been proven. There's actually pilots out there that are working today around the world. Aspire is located in Utah State University, but they have many partners all over the nation. We're super excited to bring that research to Florida because of the unique environment that we work in. So they'll be able to test things like humidity and heat and things like that on the operation of this wireless charging activity. So we're super excited about that. And, you know, as we continue, we're looking to all types of activities that help our industry. We have so many third-party toll collectors now. You have members, so you know the number of third-party toll collectors. There's so many that our agency decided to take a step back, and we have a group working on a structure by which we evaluate third-party providers. So when we work with third parties, they all have a level playing field and they all have the ability to work with us if they meet certain criteria. So that's something that's been new to us this year. But as these companies, you know, innovate, they become very good at what they do. We want to be able, we pick the best, right, to partner with CFX. So we hope to have that structure and policy done by this fall. And so, and I know that's something that the Easy Pass group is looking at as well. So everyone in our industry is embracing that evolution and innovation. It's been so successful, we have to figure out the best ways to engage, right?
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Easy Pass, there was an announcement recently that Easy Pass now is fully interoperable with all of the Florida toll agencies. Talk to us a little bit about that and the significance of that development.
I'm so excited about that. The Florida's Turnpike in Tampa and Miami, Easy Pass can be used anywhere in Florida. We really take interoperability seriously here in Florida. And Nicola LaCourie is really taking the lead in getting the Florida's Turnpike on board. And I think they've had a very successful launch and we're super excited. We're super excited that Florida's now more interoperable than we ever have been before.
All of the snowbirds, this is an announcement for you. You can use your Easy Pass in Florida. If you don't want to fly, if you don't want to take the train, get in your car and go there using your Easy Pass, right?
That's exactly right. So
all right. Well, this is Café IBTTA. Our guest is Laura Kelley, Executive Director of the Central Florida Expressway Authority. We are taking your questions. Please put your question in the chat function and select all panelists and attendees. We really want to hear from you. But while we're waiting for those questions to roll in, Laura, you mentioned Nicola LaCourie, the director of Florida's Turnpike Enterprise, and you do a lot of cooperation with neighboring agencies. Talk to us about some of the cooperation in extension projects and interchanges and those kinds of things.
We have a long history of working with all of our partners here in Central Florida. And just to give you a few examples, we have a huge project here that is an interstate project. It is a rebuilding of the I-4 corridor in Florida. If you've ever visited here, I'm sure you've driven it. It is a very congested road that is being widened and modernized. We actually have a huge interchange in downtown that intersects 408 with that I-4 project. We contributed over $230 million to that project so that DOT could build that interchange for us. Those types of partnerships here in Central Florida, because we're growing so fast, it's critical so that we can meet all the transportation needs. We do the same for the DOT in some circumstances. We were widening the 417 on the eastern part of Central Florida, and the DOT asked us to do some of their widening and ramps and et cetera in that space. And of course, it just makes sense to work together so that you can seamlessly deliver these projects on time. And so those types of partnerships go on all the time here in Central Florida. We also have an expressway called the 414 up in the northwest part of Central Florida. It's an expressway until it gets to about 1.5 miles from the interstate, and then it goes down to 3 traffic lights. It is so congested in that area that 1.5 to 2 miles can take you an hour to get through. And I'm not exaggerating, it is crazy. So we're partnering with the DOT to allow us to bridge over the local traffic and provide an express connection to I-4. That will greatly relieve the local traffic and get people to the majority of people to where they want to go. And that's the I-4 interstate, right?
Yep.
So that's just a few examples of how we partner, but with the Florida Department of Transportation, with Nicola LaCory at Florida's Turnpike, if we weren't working together, I think it would be a lot more difficult to serve our community. And we are all focused on serving our community and our customers.
That's great. That's great. Well, another way you serve your customers, I guess, is trying to be really open and convenient for visitors. And Brady Neppel from Team Florida has a question. How is the visitor toll pass program working?
Oh, Brady, I'm thankful you asked. So the visitor toll pass program, we just relaunched yesterday. The visitor toll pass program was a pilot back before COVID hit. And of course, when the airport traffic greatly diminished, we paused visitor toll pass. And it gave our technology department an opportunity to actually automate the visitor toll pass program, add a visitor toll pass app so that anyone in the world could participate in the program. And then once they landed, they just go to a machine and to a vending machine and get their toll pass. It will make this automation that our team has done will actually make it very easy to administer a visitor toll pass in other airports. So it's very, they can be copied. I know the Tampa International Airport is interested in participating. So this makes it easy for other airports to have the service. This technology also makes it easy to administer toll passes in other parts of our region. So, at our toll tax collector's office, for instance, there can be a vending machine where they can get a toll pass.
So this is great for all the non-snowbirds who come to Florida without some type of pass. Somebody who's in a state or a region that has no tolling at all, they can come and use this and use the expressways in Florida.
Yeah, and the most important part about this is it saves the average rental car driver about 80% on the tolls here in Central Florida, and it eliminates all the user fees. They just pay the electronic toll, and that's it. And that is a huge service for an area like Orlando that has up to 75 million visitors in a year. I mean, that's incredible to be able to provide that to our visitors.
And that adds up to some of the things we heard in the first set of comments, that Orlando is fun and it's home and it's free, and people feel good about Orlando because you're offering a program like that. Well, here's another question from, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
We hope that it helps, because before we had visitor toll pass, we had a lot of unhappy customers. So I think this is going to help our image.
Understood. Here's a question from Valerie McFall. She asks, what major obstacles do you have when trying to advance project or projects? Are there elected officials or community activists or environmental regulations? She wants to hear, the nitty gritty, when you get your hands dirty, what's going on there?
That is really a great question. And no matter if you're tackling an urban project in the downtown core, or you're tackling a new corridor in a rural area that's being developed, we have found that the environment, water issues, water flow issues, as well as wildlife corridors, trails are at every conversation of a project, every conversation. So about a year and a half or so ago, our agency developed a standing environmental stewardship committee. And every project that is being looked at by our agency is evaluated at that level. And it is made up of environmental specialists, people that do it for a living. Because let's be honest, I care about the environment, but I'm not educated enough to really understand those issues. We need those experts to help guide us, make sure we make the right decisions. There are bridges all across Central Florida. There's a lot of water here, but there are also water flow issues that have to be addressed when a bridge is reconstructed. So those are issues that we're tackling today.
Another issue, Laura, that you're tackling has to do with cash. You still collect cash at CFX, but as I understand it, you have plans to convert your cash lanes into full service lanes for customer service purposes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, by and far, most of our community like the high-speed lanes, but there is a section of our community, and it includes visitors, that prefer cash. So we are turning all of our cash lanes into full service lanes, meaning you can drive up, you can add money to your account, you can get a new transponder, you can sign up for an account there. It's really a full service lane, and we're able to do that because of the automation and the systems that have been developed by our tech team. So we hope to launch. We already have those full service lanes in existence today. We just have them in 3 locations, and we want to expand it to all of our cash lanes. So I think this is like a recycle of something, of infrastructure that already exists, because we know moving into the future, cash will be not as an important part of our system. And in fact, when we build new corridors now, we do not add cash lanes. But for the foreseeable future, this allows people to use cash on their account and have full service.
Now, I'm going to shift gears a little bit away from business and into family. I understand that yesterday you crossed a major threshold in terms of a milestone in your family. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so during COVID, I became a grandma for the first time. And of course, anybody that knows me, that's about all I can talk about anymore. So I can talk about transportation, but RJ pretty much rules my world these days. And let me see, I'll try to share.
Yeah, please share if you can. I have heard that having grandkids is great. All right.
That's RJ lives in St. Augustine. So that's me and him at the beach not too long ago. It's one of our favorite things to do, is to walk the beach early in the morning.
That's great.
That
is great. Beautiful.
I'm partial, but I think he's pretty cute.
He's pretty cute. He's pretty darn cute. And the nice thing about grandbabies is you can give them back to their parents, right?
That's right.
All right, Laura, let's talk a little bit about the future. Everybody's talking about big changes in the industry, electrification, mobile payments. You talked about that a little while ago, road usage charging, cloud computing. Give us your thoughts about, the future of our industry and collaborating with other groups, such as with transit.
I think it's very important, in our enabling legislation in 2014, we are officially authorized to partner with other mobility partners to have other types of transportation along our right of way. And in an area like Central Florida, that's extremely important. And we're working with all of our partners here as we move into the future. I think the most important thing that we can do as an industry is embrace change. We're in a time where we are looking at innovation and challenges every day with regard to technology. And we have to embrace it and move forward. And I think if you're not a person that really kind of thrives on change, you may find this environment a little difficult. But for people like you and me, it's super exciting because it is an opportunity to bring new things and efficiencies to our world and options and transportation options that we've never had before. So yeah, I'm super excited about the times that we're working in.
And Laura, you can't embrace that change. You can't embrace the conditions that you're in without some people along the way who gave you a leg up. And I'm thinking about your role models, your mentors. Talk to us a little bit about people that you've looked up to and have helped you along the way.
Well, I think Central Florida for many years has had women in leadership in transportation here. And I could probably name 10, like off the top of my head, that have really throughout my career have reached out to me, have been so helpful in helping navigate some of the issues that we all deal with every day. And I just feel blessed to have those women in my life, and they continue to help guide me as we work. And so I feel very fortunate to have all those ladies working here in Central Florida, and Orlando has a lot of female leadership in transportation.
That's great news. That's great news. And I know the Women in Tolling has been a very strong force in helping to advance women in our industry. And I'm going to talk a little bit in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to talk about a program that they're putting on. But thinking about that whole notion of paying it forward, you've had people who've helped you along the way. Talk to us about what advice do you have for up and comers in our industry, people who are just getting their feet wet in tolling? What advice would you give them?
Well, number one, I think throughout my career, what I've learned is listening and hearing is super important. Understanding what your community wants and needs is super important. I spend a lot of time with my community. I spend a lot of time with my staff, but I would say about half of my job is working with the community and trying to understand what the future looks like, what their hopes and dreams are, what their visions are for our community. So that is probably the most unexpected advice you'd probably get, but to me, it's been key.
Yeah, work with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Laura, I'm going to make a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to come back to you for some final words of wisdom.
Okay.
So don't forget to complete the survey that you'll receive at the end of today's program so we can continue to improve on these programs. Next week, now this is a big announcement. Next week, there is no Café IBTTA. Instead, we have a special webinar from 11 to 12:30 titled Making an Impact in the Fight Against Human Trafficking. This is presented by the IBTTA Women in Tolling in partnership with WTS. And we have all outside agencies and organizations working with this and participating in this program. And one of those organizations is the Truckers Against Trafficking. And we are going to have a little bit of a fundraiser during this event. So we hope you'll attend this. People ask, what does tolling industry have to do with trafficking? Well, there's a lot we can do to help prevent it. And we're going to learn a lot more about that next week. Tomorrow, June 10th, we have our book club. So you want to talk about race by the author Ijoma Oluo. Please join us for that. June 22nd, the Communications Committee presents external and internal virtual communications. Next week, 2 weeks from today, June 23rd, our guest on Café IBTTA is John Kelley, Executive Director of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. And on June 24th, the Young Professionals Council presents Leveraging Relationships to Help Build Your Career. all of those events are on the IBTTA website, especially our annual meeting coming up October 10 through 12 in Anaheim. We are 99% certain that we're going, and we'll give you the final decision on that very soon. And also in November 4th through 6th, we have our Maintenance, Engineering, and Roadway Operations Workshop in Louisville, Kentucky. Well, Laura, what final words of wisdom do you have before we sign off today?
Well, just last week, I attended Team Florida in Tampa, Florida in person, and the attendance was incredible. People in our industry are so excited to start working together again because collaboration in person is just so much more effective. So I look forward to seeing all of you all in Anaheim, California for our annual meeting. And I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
I'm super excited to see everybody too. That's a wonderful sentiment. Laura, it was great having you on the show. Thank you so much for being with us. And to all the members of IBTTA, be safe, keep in touch, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks, Laura.